Today's episode is brought to you by Gray Block Pizza. Gray Block Pizza and Bronx Born Pizza in Bend, Oregon. Gray Block Pizza in Los Angeles. Get that hitter. Wow. And I hope your weekend was good. All right, let's go. It was me, and that is an artist named Jameson Flood, and that's a man, not a natural disaster. And he sent in that song called Every Night, and we're happy to play that at the beginning there. Welcome to this past weekend. I'm excited to be here. Premature Nick, our producer, is going to be in studio with us in a second. But first, I'm amped. I am still hyped up. I got to go to Aerosmith this past weekend. I got to go to the UFC fights. Dude, I hadn't been to a fight, since I seen a couple sisters beating up my buddy that had a couple milkshakes in his hand outside of in Cincinnati. But I got to go to the UFC fight. And I'm not trying to brag, but just a crazy weekend. And I want to play this clip right now because we're gonna actually call an interview. We're going to call and interview the champ. Dustin Poirier, here momentarily. But I want to play a clip really quick from a previous episode when he came in, episode 142, Dustin Poirier right here. You just want to win the belt.
Yeah, I just want to win the belt, man. That's all I want. I just want to be the world champion. And then I'll go back to delivering windows.
So is that really that goal? I mean, that's the thing? You just want to be the best?
Yeah, of course I would love to stay in this sport for a long time and make a shitload of money, but I just want to say that I did it. I want to have the UFC championship around my waist. All these years with my wife struggling and taking food out of the grocery basket because we couldn't afford it and making ends meet and sacrificing a lot. I just want to say it was all worth it because once you become the world champion, that's forever.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do, honestly.
Damn, that's powerful, man. That's really, really cool. That's so inspirational. Very powerful. It was just a powerful night to be there. It was just so inspirational. Dustin Poirier nobody's taken, I don't think, a harder road to get to a title in the UFC. And I don't know a lot about UFC, but I think we can all relate to adversity, and I am constantly inspired by perseverance. This man just has it. He has it, and I was fortunate to be able to be there. There were so many people that got to witness it, and I want to get him on the line right now. Let's call Dustin Poirier the new 155-pound, the champ. They can never take it away from him for the rest of his life. They can never take it away. Let's call him up right now.
Yo.
Looking for the champ.
Champ's here.
Champ's here. What's up, brother? How are you?
Champ's here. Good, man. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much.
How you feeling today?
A little busted up, but feeling good. Feeling like the champ.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. There's a bunch of bumps and bruises. When you fight like that for 25 minutes with these caliber of guys, you got hitting spots you don't even know you got hit in,
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really feel like a massage, does it?
No, unless yeah, not at all. Not even a bad massage.
How are you celebrating, man?
Dude, I'm not really doing a whole lot, honestly. I took my daughter to the zoo today. That's about it, really.
Yeah. Does she know that? Does she know that Dad is a champion?
Yeah, dude, she knows, man, and it makes me feel so good.
Ah, that's awesome.
Yeah, like she calls the belt. You know, she said, that's Daddy's belt. Every time she walks by, she points to it. That's Daddy's belt. It's so pretty. She like, dude, she loves it. Bro. Makes me feel so good.
I bet, man. Now, do you find yourself recovering, or do you find yourself like thinking about training? Like, what kind of what's going on, like in sort of in your head a little in that stuff?
Right now, like I'm just kind of seeing what pain's gonna stay longer than a few days, what's not, and you know, I'll get what's not gonna go away in a few days. I'll get it checked out by a doctor, get some MRIs done. But I feel pretty healthy. And then the good thing about this fight is I know my next step. For most of my career, I didn't know the next step after fights. Now we know we're gonna fight Khabib to unify the belts, and he's suspended until September, I believe. So I know I'm probably not gonna fight until September. So that gives me like a little peace of mind that a fight's not gonna pop up on me. I can kind of start planning accordingly to that timeline.
Yeah. Now, would that happen in September, or do you? It could happen after that. Do you have a say so in that? How does that kind of work?
Nah, I believe it's he. You know, Khabib's the undisputed champ, so him and the UFC, I guess, are gonna figure it out. But his suspension ends, I believe, in September. So that doesn't mean he can't start a training camp before then. You know, he can be ready to go as soon as the day the suspension ends. So, and that's what I've heard floating around, that September is the date they're gonna plan the next fight.
Wow, man. Are you worried about like I know a lot of these fighters, or it seems like I'm learning anyway that a lot of the fighters, like as they, you know, once you become a champion, once you get a belt, that a lot of the media obligations become more pertinent, especially, and more you have a lot more obligations to the media around fight time, and that it can drain a lot of fighters. Do you worry about any of that?
I don't really think about it that much, sit back and worry about it. But now that you're mentioning it, bro, this last fight, the lead up to this last fight, I mean, I was nonstop interviews, nonstop going to different places on fight week, which I usually don't. You know, that's new to me. Every now and then on a fight week, I'd go to like a radio station here and there. But this time, my whole itinerary was just full of interviews and places to be. It made the week fly by, really, but it is a distraction and a little bit of stress.
Yeah. Did You said in an interview, Dustin, man, that just one of the neatest things I'd ever heard, and you said 25 minutes to make life fair. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, brother. Teddy, I was listening to a podcast, one of Teddy Atlas's podcasts. I don't know if you know who Teddy Atlas is. He's a legendary boxing trainer, been around a long time, was one of the first guys to train Mike Tyson under Customato. Just a very, very interesting mind in combat sports. When I listen to the guy talk, like, you know, he's just very well spoken about feelings and things that fighters go through and stuff. But on this podcast, he was talking about in no other time in life or in history do you have an opportunity to raise your arms up in the air and be called the best in the world, the champion of the world, no matter what, except in fighting, you know. And that's what I was looking at coming into this fight is 25 minutes, no matter fights that I've lost in the past, what the odds makers say, people who told me I'm not good enough, you know, just every time I've slipped and fell, or every critic out there, every opinion out there, I had 25 minutes to mute that out.
Yeah.
And in my own hands, I had control of my destiny, and I knew I had it for 25 minutes, and that was very powerful going into that fight, just knowing that. And I wanted to leave all of myself out there, give it my all, and whatever was going to happen. But I walked into the cage that night comfortable, knowing that I was prepared to do everything that I had physically, you know, everything possible of myself. I was willing to do it, whatever it took to win that belt and make life fair for 25 minutes, man.
Wow. Yeah, man, you hit the ring. You were feeling good. That James Brown hit the scene, man. It was, God, that was live, man. When you're backstage, the fight before you guys was, Jesus Christ, man. Were you watching that?
I was, so there's in the locker room where you warm up, there's a big mat, you know, to warm up on and stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's a TV there streaming the fights live. So you kind of know where you're at. You know, I knew I was the main event. So the co-main's going, right when it ends, I know I have about 5 or 6 minutes before they come get me and say, okay, you're walking now. So I was kind of keeping an eye on it, but I didn't get to see every round. You know, I was warming up and kind of just glancing at it. So I need to go back and watch it. I haven't yet.
Man, it was powerful. I mean, it was just at that point, yeah, I was just like, I'm sitting there in the stands like, Jesus, I can't imagine that there's going to be more fighting. Like, it was just, those guys had murdered each other.
Dude, let me interview you. How was your first trip to a fight?
Oh, it was scary, man. I was swinging my arm. I almost knocked my date out one time. So that was kind of alarming. Man, it was, it gave me a whole different respect for fighters. Like, even just a minute ago when you said that they come and walk you from the back out there 5 minutes off, that to me feels like an electric chair. Like they would be walking me like dead man walking, you know, like to the last moments.
To be honest with you, and you know, fighting, everybody thinks guys are tough guys. You know, I'm a bad dude for sure. I can fight. I'm one of the best in the world, and I know like what I'm capable of. But I'm not immune to those feelings. I'm scared to death back there, even though I'm so prepared and you know, put in so many years and months into this single training camp to fight this one guy.
Yeah.
Like there's still the unknown out there. Anything could happen. I know I'm human. If I make a mistake and get kneed in the face, I know I'll get knocked out.
Right.
So in a weird way, as they come get you and say, all right, Dustin, you're walking, it's almost, you feel like you're being led, I don't want to say to slaughter, but you're being led to a crowd full of people, and you're about to step in the you know, in an arena and freaking, you know, it feels like you're going out there to fight to the death. That's what it feels like to me.
Wow. Does it, is there, can you feel the crowd when you're out there, or you guys are just so zoned into what you're doing?
You know, earlier in my career, I could, everything was muted out. It was just, I was so much adrenaline pounding that I could only just react and do what I was doing. But now, as I've got so many fights under my belt, I can hear everything, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting, man. It's like, it's like Christmas, but Santa's like trying to beat the fuck out of you. You know, that's what it kind of was like, the vibe that it kind of seemed for me. Like if I was I can only imagine if I was in your shoes, it would be like so exciting because you're ready. It's there. You've been waiting for it. But then you got to like, you know, Santa's not bringing gifts, dude. He's bringing an ass whooping, you know?
Right. And he's fucking mad.
And he's mad.
It is kind of like that. You're so excited. You're like anxious to perform. You've been working. You want everybody to see what level you're capable of fighting at. You want to show everything everything you've been working on. But at the same time, it's still like, oh my God, we're doing this. We're fighting. Anything could happen. But that's like when you're a young fighter, you don't think about those things. I think those are the things that come along with time and maturity in the sport. Like when I was young, I never thought about the possibility of getting hit near the elbow and split in the face or knocked out. I just didn't think about those things. I was just going out there to fight. But as you get older, you're like, okay, you know, you've seen some things and been some places. You're like, this is dangerous, man.
Right. This is dangerous. Now, a lot of these guys, do you know that you're going to have this next fight against Khabib? It's not for certain yet, but it's close.
Yeah, man, you know, nothing's for certain in mixed martial arts. Nothing surprises me anymore. I don't know, but I don't know what's going to happen. But the plan is to unify the belts. Dana told me that. Dana's publicly said it. And, you know, that's what I think should happen. And
yeah.
It will.
Yeah. Do you worry about a lot of those guys from certain parts of the world, you know, and I'm not naming any, but like Dagestan, you know, they use like performance enhancing drugs and stuff. Do you worry about that kind of thing?
You know, USADA's pretty tight, man. We were Olympic drug tested year round by USADA.
Mm-hmm.
Just this last week in Atlanta, I was tested twice.
Wow.
One urine test, one blood test, and I was only there for 5 days. So, you know, they do very strenuous testing year round. So I think they cleaned up the sport. You know, I just hope it's an even playing field. You know, that's what I hope. Yeah.
You want it to be fair. Yeah, I would have tested positive for being a straight bitch in the audience, dude. I was fucking so scared, bro. Some people got hurt. I was praying for people. I texted the police at one point. Like, it was getting, it was crazy, man.
Man, bro.
It was so crazy, man. Just, dude, I would think there were certain moments where I was like, oh, just get to the end of the round, and then you have to fucking do another round.
Dude, I know, man. When the fifth round came up for my fight, when I got off the stool, I was fucking excited. I was like, all right, now I can just do it. I can leave everything out of there. I don't have to conserve. I don't have to worry about anything. We got 5 minutes left to find out who's the best. That was an exciting time, knowing there's 5 minutes left to this battle.
Yeah, it seemed like, you just came outside. Dude, I woke up in the middle of the night and watched the whole fight last night on YouTube again. And it's so much different watching it in person. It's so much more intense than watching it on television or on tape.
That's what.
That's what.
That's what I try to tell people who've never been to a live event. Like watching even boxing, any combat sport, watching it on TV, you can hear the punches land, but you don't get the impact feeling and you don't feel the energy when you're in there, especially how close you were, man. You were down there commentating the fights, and you just feel the energy and the force, and you can see the aggression and the sweat and blood flying. It's just a totally different feel for watching fights that close.
Bro, I'm scared. Suddenly I got scared again right now. Yeah, it was it was everything, man. And seeing when you got that belt, man, just how, just paid in full, man. You could just see it. You could just see it all right there for you, man. That must have just been, what was that like?
It was, all these years I imagined getting the belt put on me and imagined just touching the belt and being a champion in the UFC. But when it actually happened, it was, it felt like a dream. It felt better than I could have ever thought it felt like. And it felt right. It didn't feel, it felt like I earned it. It felt like 12 years of work. And it just really felt good, man. I've never felt anything like that. I just felt really accomplished and just proud of myself, Amen. I don't know what else I can compare it to.
Well, it's your journey, and I think those are perfect. That seems to be, you felt very accomplished. It felt right. And it's interesting that you say it felt like a dream because this was a dream of yours. So it's like, it would almost make sense that it felt that way, I guess,
Right. And a dream at times that has slipped away from me. And I didn't know if I was going to, I just, in the back of my head, always, no matter what happened, I'm going to push through it and overcome and just have perseverance through anything. But, still, some days are tough, man. Some days on the job are tough. I've lost big fights in the past. And going back home after losing a big fight, it's like, man, will I ever really make this a reality? And, dude, when that goal touched my skin, man, I just knew, like, all those years, bro, all those years.
Yeah, it's so interesting, man. I actually got a message from Michael Bisping the other night, and he said, man, he did it, because I'd been messaging him the week before just asking about the fights, and no one, it seems, I was looking at some information online, and it said that no one had a longer route from their first fight to a belt than Bisping had 26 fights, and I guess for you it was 22. And he said a couple nice things, just such supportive things that he could really relate to your journey, man. Do you feel like the journey is over? Where do you find motivation and inspiration now?
No, now it's, what I have is a piece of the world championship. I have to unify the belt with Khabib. When I beat Khabib, then I'm on top of the mountain. Right now I'm on the edge. I got a few more steps to go. Once I beat Khabib, then I'm on top of the mountain, and then it becomes about legacy. What can I do differently than these other champions?
Yeah.
What can I do to separate myself in that category? There's levels to it, man. There's levels to it for sure.
Yeah. But you're a champion, man, and that's and they can never take it away from you, man. Congratulations so much, and tell me about your organization one more time, Dustin, that you have there out of Lafayette and out of Coconut Creek.
Yeah, me and my wife have the Good Fight Foundation. Mm-hmm. It's the goodfightgroup.com if you want any info. But we're just doing things around Acadiana and Southern Louisiana, trying to help out, trying to use my platform in the best way I can to make people, better in my community, to better anything we can do. We're not set to one specific goal. We do all types of things. But this next goal we're building a playground for disabled children at an elementary school. And I'm really, really excited to do that.
That's awesome, man. We're going to go online and make a donation right after this, and yeah, man, it'd be great if you and I have talked about over the past year about doing maybe a comedy show and doing some fundraising efforts together down there in South Louisiana, and if you're still willing to do that, man, I'd love to be able to for us to see that to fruition.
bro, I'm 100% down. I can start working on it if you want to, man. It'll be great. I think you can really have a huge turnout, and we can get some good stuff going for South Louisiana.
Yeah, I think so too, man. We can start local. I love it. The champ, dude. Congratulations, brother.
Thank you, Theo, man. It was awesome to see you out there in the crowd, bro.
Dude, I was so excited, bro. I was gonna if anybody jumped in, I was jumping in. You know?
I knew you had my back, man. I knew
yeah, dog. Look, I was gonna get knocked the fuck out, boy. I was ready to get knocked out. I even brought a pillow in my bag.
Oh.
So I was ready, man. Congratulations, champ. Enjoy your time with your family.
Thank you so much, Theo, brother. Good to hear from you.
All right, you too, man. Have a good day.
Yep.
Well, Nick Davis, I mean, you're a big UFC guy, and this is a little bit of a different episode because, look, I mean, I learned a lot about the fight. Yeah, it was just inspiring. It was inspiring to see Dustin. It was scary, man. It was all, I don't know what was going on. Then there's people drinking. There's one guy just yelling Rat King the whole time. I'm like, dude, are you even looking at the fucking fights, bro? Like, you can watch me on YouTube, you little charlatan.
Yeah, it was a great night of fights, man. Dustin seems so pure, like everything he says. Like,
yeah,
he's not trying to put on airs at all. Like, he said what he wanted to do, and he did everything he could to do it, and he did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the thing that resonates with me a lot. It's just that you could feel the perseverance. You could feel, he just wants to, he just, it's interesting and like, because he's a guy, I think he said he dropped out of school when he was young. Like, I don't even know if he didn't finish high school. So you would think at a young age, that would probably make somebody feel kind of uncomfortable because everybody else is graduating high school or is finishing school, and it's just not for you, or you have, I don't know if he said he had some learning disabilities or what he had, but it just wasn't his thing, So then you have to feel a little bit like an outsider probably then. So to find an avenue with fighting, and people are like, oh, dude, I mean, if you're somebody that's fighting around town, like, until you fucking win the belt, until like you get into the UFC, you're just kind of an asshole, You're like somebody that the cops are like keeping their eye on, and then you start to, but just I guess to see how somebody can take something that can find their path, not only find their path, but then continue on it when it's such a limited, it's a very lean mountain, It seems like that UFC stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, totally. Especially like he mentioned, a couple times he got really close to title shots, and he lost like big fights that the next one probably would have been a title shot. And when you lose those in MMA, there's so many contenders. It takes a long time to get back to a point. And a lot of people, when they lose those big fights, they'll quit. But he continued to push, and he's won like 9 out of 10 fights. And the big one everybody talks about was he fought a guy named Korean Zombie.
Jesus Christ. Is that a guy who's got a Halloween costume?
Yeah.
I feel like, Jesus. Yeah. That's like Boston Salmon was another guy who was fighting this weekend.
Yeah, Boston Salmon, that's his actual birth-given name. Korean Zombie, his name's just like too difficult for people, so they just refer to him. Everybody just knows him as Korean Zombie. And everybody thought if Dustin would have won that fight, he would have got a title shot. And he got knocked out in that one, and it was a long road back.
Yeah. And then, it just, like he said, such a long road to stay on that road. And I guess in some ways I can relate to it in the sense, the same with comedy. Because there's something about it, like, for the first 9 years of doing comedy, like, you don't have any stuff on television. The internet wasn't even really around, The first 6 years, the internet's not even around. You're just telling people you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, basically, they just think you're an alcoholic. And then it just takes so long, and there's so many moments where you get off of a stage and you're like, man, I remember one time I had even like my Netflix special, I was like, oh, this is the opportunity that's going to change my space in the industry. And it didn't, and it was just like, man, I thought that was going to be it, but the timing wasn't right, and I wasn't really ready. I mean, in hindsight, but at the time I didn't know that.
That was your Korean Zombie.
That was my Korean Zombie, dude. And now I'm eating Boston Salmon. I really am. But I think that's one thing you get with, I think it's one of the reasons why I love Maurice Claret, why, really respond to him, why I respond to Dustin's story. Just seeing him in the ring at the end, and we'll put some pictures in that, there was a moment where he's in the ring and his wife's there behind him and you can just see. And I was just on the edge of the cage and I just took as many little pictures as I could. And I was like, man, this is just I can see it all right here. There's just a moment where you could see just that a man had worked so hard.
That picture that you took, is absolutely epic. Like for him, like that's like a keepsake. Cause he said on your interview with him, this past weekend, number 142, he's like, his wife is his middle school sweetheart. She used to drive him to practice when they had one car. She'd pick him up.
And he dropped out in high school, so middle school was it. So it's not like people are like, well, why didn't you get a high school sweetheart, bro? He didn't fucking hang around for all of that.
Right, and you captured it perfectly. He's crying. She's in the background, just like looking at it. They did it together. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, they did it together. And when you talk to him, even over the past year, he and I communicate pretty decently, and I try to get more into like learning about the sport a little bit or seeing what's going on. And his message has always just been, I just want to be the champ, man. I just want, that validation. And sure, it's like he only has part of the belt or whatever they say, but that's just the way it's kind of been unfolding with people getting suspended, people get busted for this and that.
And he still, even though it was an interim belt, he still beat a champion to get the belt.
Ooh.
Max is the 145-pound champion. So I think that it doesn't lose any weight.
I'd love to see them both fight at 225.
The weight?
Yeah. See them both put on 50 pounds, go to Italy for a month, come back and do it again. I forgot to ask him about Max if he'd talked to him. And guys, this isn't turning into a UFC podcast, but look, I got to go. I'd never been to a fight before. I'd never even been to WrestleMania. I remember I did drink a cup of a guy's sweat one time when I lost a bet one time. But that's like the closest I've ever been to really to like an event like that. And first of all, the first fight of the night was this guy, Brandon Davis. And that was really, it was a bloodbath. I mean, these two guys just stood there and beat a pint out of each other. I mean, it was like Halloween. It was like an episode of Jason. I was like, is Jason Voorhees in this match? Like, there was just blood everywhere. And then it was up and down from there. It was just, I don't know, man. It was quite a spectacle, though. It really blew my mind. Shaquille O'Neal was there.
I mentioned this to you before, but like the way you describe the fight, you're sitting first row, you're seeing your buddy fight for a belt, Shaquille O'Neal's first round. It sounds like a dream someone tells you, and it just sounds absurd.
Dude, he had a pretzel, bro, of an Aunt Annie's, and it was inside of in the palm of his hand, the whole thing, and he just licked it off of his hand.
It's like a horse with a salt lick.
Yeah. Oh, he licked it in half, dude. He licked it once, and there was half of the pretzel left. He bisected it the long way, not like it was. I would recommend it if you've never been to see something like that. I would recommend it. And there was so many great people. I met so many people in the stands. And the weekend started. You and I went to Aerosmith.
It was awesome. What a weekend.
I mean, we went to Aerosmith, and you did you lose any money? How'd you end up?
Yeah, I ended up losing an even hundy. I cut myself off. I stayed an extra day in Vegas, cut myself off after losing that 100 because I was up 100 initially. And then on that extra night, I told you I played in that poker tournament. And
oh, yeah.
That was wild, man.
How was it?
I played about 3 hours just to finish one spot outside the money, but it was... One guy almost attacked me after I beat him with my pocket aces.
You got to pull that ridge blade on him.
Yeah, that's right. Luckily, there was a bodyguard from Floyd Mayweather's The Money team also in the tournament. So I think if shit went down, he would have had my back.
Also an embezzler probably from Floyd Mayweather's Money team if he's out there just getting rid of cash in Vegas.
Yeah, he was a little agitated too because everything was like 12:30 at night and everything around us was closed, and this guy was like probably 300 pounds, and he said he didn't eat meat, so there was like nothing for him to eat. It was very bizarre.
Wow.
And the guy who flipped out on me, so he got out in like the first 5 hands. That's why I was so pissed. And so then you can buy back into the tournament.
Yeah.
And then so after he flips out, he has to sit back at our table, and it was just incredibly awkward.
That's awkward.
Yeah, but I outlasted him again at least. That was my goal after That was my championship, just outlasting that guy.
Yeah. And you said you were one spot away from getting in the money, huh?
Yeah, and the hand I went out on, had I won, I would have been chip leader at the table with only 6 people left. I would have been sitting real pretty.
We would have had a different guy in here today.
A guy called my ace 9 with an ace 4, and he beat me. It was whack.
Well, you gave it a shot, man.
Yeah, it was super fun. It's a way better way because it was $65 over 3 hours. That's like you sit at a blackjack table that long, you could lose way more money than that. So it was a fun way to spend the time.
Or you sit at the Bachelor slot machine like I did and lose 180. Yeah. 2 ways to do Vegas, guys. Okay, there's 2 ways to do Vegas. That was fun though, man. And Aerosmith, look, for a 71-year-old man, that guy had it. I thought he did a great job.
That was incredible. Those guys 70 years old, it's insane. And the fact that they're doing that 4 nights a week too. He's a machine.
Oh, and we got to tell you this. So they had so Aerosmith, the crowd, it's a mixed bag there. You know, it was a lot of, first of all, it's people know all the songs, you know, everybody. And the tickets we had, no joke, we were 7 feet from the stage, probably 6 feet from the this walkout part of the stage. And look, I've never been that close to any type of event. You know, I'm the dude usually that's in the back fucking doing dice with the homeless. Dude, I remember being at the Superdome in New Orleans one time. There's some guy who I think either had schizophrenia or was just lost, was at the game, banging on the back wall, asking people to let him out the whole time of the stadium. Like, it's just like, turn around, bro, and just walk down, you know, but I think he was just kind of mixed up or, you know, I don't know what the fuck, but that dude the whole time literally knocking on the back wall, let me out. But this was something else, man. This was something else. We were right up there and they had this guy. It was a lot of like probably 40 and 50-year-old couples, I would say. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not a bunch of people smoking weed and doing acid. It's not like in my imagination. And then there was a dude next to us had a couple of young escorts, it seemed like, or a couple thoughts with him.
Yeah. I think that guy, he's just a really big Aerosmith fan, and he wanted to make this night perfect. So he got 3 of the prettiest ladies he could find. That some
sugar babies. And I'm not saying that they were escorts. I don't know that. But they were definitely dates. You know, or one of them was his daughter that also didn't mind touching him a lot. So he had a unique triumvirate of women with him, but it created this weird energy around us because you had these other couples that had flown in from the Midwest or New Jersey or, you know, or just driven in from Henderson, Nevada, and they were all there to see Aerosmith. And suddenly there's these young buxom ladies milling around right there, and they were all offended a little bit, you could tell. So anyway, this man had these 2 ladies there, these buxom, you know, younger ladies. And look, I get it. You know, these are older women, and they spent time raising their families and stuff like that. They're there enjoying an Aerosmith. Maybe they went and saw the band with their husband when they were young, and now they're in their 50s and they're back to see the band. So then you have this man right there who obviously has left his wife, and he got a couple of thoughts, you know, a couple of internet, you know, choice kind of buxom gals out there, a couple of fucking titty bunnies with them. So, and they're right up by the stage, and they're like dancing all over them. And so all of the older men are like ogling these young ladies, and they can't help it. That's nature. You know what I'm saying? If you put a dime near a bank, the fucking bank's gonna look at it, you know? And so Nick, anyway, I went to the restroom, and Nick, take it away, Nick.
Well, you know, I like to smoke a little weed now and then.
Yeah.
And now they've got all these new gadgets and gizmos that you can smoke weed out of.
Oh, yeah.
I've got one of those vape pens that has THC in it.
And that's it's like an electric cigarette, huh?
Yeah, it's like an electric cigarette.
And that's for children. I thought it was for teenagers, and you have it?
I do. But yeah, I don't know. Mine gets you high, so I don't think it's for children.
Oh, that's a good point.
But yeah, a little juvenile nonetheless.
Yeah.
But either way, I was trying to be respectful of your sobriety. Not that you give a shit or usually have any judgment.
But I appreciate it.
So you went to the bathroom, and I decided to partake. And we had already you had already been chatting a little bit with these young ladies.
Yeah, one of the girls had listened to an episode of This Past Weekend with a sex worker we'd interviewed. So that right there was just it was an interesting moment.
Yeah, and she told you she learned a lot from it, didn't
Yeah.
she? Yeah.
She said, "Oh, I've seen you do comedy before, and I saw your podcast with the sex worker." So that was pretty. It wasn't telling, but it was interesting.
Very interesting. But yeah, so when you went to the bathroom, I pulled out my pen and I hit it to enjoy the concert in even a different state.
Yeah.
And
look, you don't have to tell me like I'm a cop, okay? I feel like you're like I'm a police officer. Well, sir, so then what happened was...
So I got high when you went to the bathroom,
Okay,
is what I'm saying.
yeah.
And she saw it, and she was like, "Oh, is that weed?" And I was like, "It is." I was like, "Do you smoke weed? Because it's strong." And she's like, "Yeah, I do. I'm fine." And
she had tits that, like, if she said yes, her tits would, like, move up and down for yes. And if she said no, her tits would move left and right for no. Like, it was like she didn't even move her head. Just her tits would move.
And they moved up and down for yes. So I let her hit it, and she was gone immediately.
I mean, this was like, it was very much like, I'm trying to relate it to a fight at UFC that I saw this weekend. It was like, it was an immediate knockdown.
Yeah. Wilson Hayes versus Pantoja. Yeah, she got knocked out with Wilson Hayes.
Yeah, it was immediate. So next thing you know, now this lady's sitting in the chair and she's like puking into a bag. So suddenly all the Midwest couples and all the other women are like cheering. Now they're all dancing. Somebody started singing Jesse's Girl. Aerosmith didn't even sing that.
Yeah. And you mentioned how a lot of the older gentlemen were all distracted by them, and all the women that were with the older gentlemen, they were appalled at what they were seeing. So then I think you were right. They got some satisfaction off seeing this situation go awry.
Yeah, there was a special moment, like, and suddenly like everybody could have fun, and it was like the last 2 or 3 songs of the concert, and it was like what was supposed to happen had happened. You know, the dark arts had been defeated. And then the guy was like all kind of you could tell he was pissed because one of his workers was down. Yeah. You know,
just imagine how mad you are if I don't come into work. You know?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and then I had to turn the cameras on myself. Jesus, I'd have fucking lost my mind. I had to put that in there.
But Mr. Officer, I will say that that was just a weed pen, and she had to have been drunk, pretty drunk before to have that effect on her.
Dude, it was so funny because literally she goes from being this pair of tits that even Steven Tyler would come over. Like he had somebody else sing a song at one point, and he's just over like looking at this girl's tits. And then finally justice was served. Nick hit her with that weed pen.
Put her out.
Oh, dude, just a fucking mental calligraphy. Just fucking, she was, that was it.
And then, I don't know if you remembered, I thought you made Steven Tyler walk off stage at one point because their last song of their set list was Dude Looks Like a Lady. Mm-hmm. And when they go, yeah, he was holding the mic out to like different parts of the crowd. And when he got to our section, you were looking down at your phone and you wanted us all to respond, and you didn't. And then the concert ended almost immediately after. I thought you pissed him off, but it turns out that's the regular set list.
No, I remember that, dude, and I fucking felt horrible. It was like, and I'd paid attention to probably 92% of the concert. You know, I caught what I could on my phone. Some people it was too much on their phone, like the thoughts, and even that old guy who hired the thoughts, dude, you know. They were just video recording the whole time. But I tried to embrace it, and that one moment he came, and you saw me, looked at me, huh?
Yeah. I was like, I hit you. I was like, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I was fucking right there, dude. And I looked at him the whole time, hoping he'd look at me. And the one moment he looks.
Mike was maybe 18 inches from his face.
What did her daddy do? I was going to sing the wrong song. I'm glad maybe I was... Because if I'd have just turned around and was like, Jesse's Girl, I could have ruined it. Mm-hmm. Oh, but man, what a time. And to go from one close range thing where people are singing, one and where people are fighting, I'd way rather be a singer. 100%. You got to hit a high note instead of hit another motherfucker. Easily. dude, during the fight, man, God, it was just so intense, man. And you're right there in Joe Rogan's seats. I'm going to put a little video up on Patreon of what Joe Rogan's seats are like. And you're just, you're right there and there's camera, there's production going on. So you kind of want to be cognizant of that. And there's some guy yelling Rat King the whole time. But there was a lot of great people in the stands we got to meet. Friday night I did, Friday night I did Joe's show. I did a surprise spot on Joe's show in Atlanta, and I'm going to apologize for anybody that saw that. That was, so I come out cold, right? It was cold audience. So I walk out, the lights are still on. It was in like a convention center. It wasn't in like a typical place where you would do a comedy show. So I walk out and it's like, Jesus Christmas, man. Like I have no clue how to open a show anymore. I lost that. I'm used to going at the end. I'm used to the comfortable spot. I'm not used to having to sleep in, on the floor. I'm used to sleeping up in the bed, when it's cozy. And it was a humbling experience, man. Oh, at one point I didn't even know what my joke was. I was in the middle of a bit and I just screamed. I was like, Vrah! One point I tied my shoe. That's how well it was going. Oh, this is going so good. I'm going to fucking take a break. Tighten up the outfit. Man, that was hectic, dude. But afterwards, I get off stage. Joe's like, I'm definitely paying you for that one. That's what he said. So I knew that it wasn't really super great. But we had a blast, man. Then we went out to eat afterwards. And Joe Rogan, he's drinking. He got all kind of special things. He'd pull out of that man sack, he'd pull a little couple pints of fucking, hummingbird fucking spit. And he'll drink that on the spot. He'll drip it into his eyeballs. You know what I'm saying? Joe Rogan, he's doing wild stuff. He'll pull a couple of fucking little, he had a little bag and it was, part of it was froze. He had a freezer section in his fanny pack and he had fucking little cheetah legs in there. Little cheetah drumettes, just eating the short arms of cheetah. Just fucking nibbling on them, dipping them in ranch, real ranch. Like a section of land from Montana, just dipping it right into it, Like he had French dressing, dude. And it was real. I think it was just the blood of Napoleon Bonaparte. And he just fucking basket in that and then fucking have a little bit of that cheetah leg. He was drinking all kind. When you're with Joe Rogan, you don't know what he's having. He's on all the dark. He's got all the wildest supplements. At one point, I heard a falcon fucking vomited like just into the air thousands of feet away, and Rogan fucking caught it in his pocket. Use that for later in case he a special salve to solve a situation. And then at one point he got a call, no joke, on his phone, bro. It said Neptune. I was like, Jesus Christ, bro.
That must have been Eddie Bravo.
Huh?
That must have been Eddie Bravo.
Yeah, it could have been. Well, it didn't say flat Neptune. Then it would have been. But I was like, but his ringtone was the actual rings of Saturn. And I was like, this is too much. And it's sometimes when you're hanging out with Joe Rogan, it's just it's a history lesson, it's a geology lesson, it's a philosophy lesson. You never know what's going to go on, The bread basket at dinner with him tasted like Socrates, bro. Like fucking Socrates, boy. Unbelievable. But anyway, man, I fucking bombed. So if you want to know what it's like, here's what I think it would be like. Go to your first job and have to do it right now. What would that be for you, Nick?
I'd be working at the library.
Which is where you're going to be working if these fucking cameras don't get fucking tightened up. Anyway, I had to throw that in. You'd be working at the library. Yeah. Do you think you could handle it now at the library, or would you lose your mind?
I'd lose my mind for sure. I wasn't a good employee back then, so
really,
yeah. Going back, I just because my job was magazines and the periodicals. Yeah. So I just spent a lot of my time flipping through magazines.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's where I got a lot of useless information.
I guess so, dude. Dude, I remember I going to the library. Man, the library was like a place where, the lights were on. You could be in there. They weren't going to kick you out really because there was just the library. You just had to be quiet. And if you weren't quiet, they just told you to be quiet every 5 minutes all day. And you could still be there. And I remember I'd go, once I'd read children, but regular books as a child. And then, because my mom, instead of getting us a babysitter, sometimes would just take us to the library. You used to be at the library 4 or 5 hours, and they have free water. They have water fountains. Bathrooms were nice, and they had microfiche and stuff like that. You used to be able to rent a movie at the library even. But I remember once I started getting erections and getting into sex and stuff like that, or thinking about it, I'd go look at those Rubenesque women in the Rubenesque art period, in those books, and they had naked women in the books. I mean, people had drawn them, and I remember I would close my erection in the book until I fucking came, like real, real hard, and then I'd feel so fucking bad about myself and so bad about art. So I'm glad I'm not doing that kind of shit anymore. But anyway, what did I say? I would talk last week about masturbation. I'd done like 100 and maybe 10 days of not of no masturbation, but of pornography.
There's a call relating to this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think if you look at the sheet, it's like number 5 or 6.
Okay,
maybe 2.
Let's guy feel looking at porn.
Yeah.
Okay, let's listen to it right now.
Hey Theo, it's Jacob from Kansas City.
What's up, Jacob? Thank you for calling, brother.
Me and my buddy that you called Big White, we saw you at the Late Friday show in KC.
Oh yeah, dude, that fucking big whitey white, bro, big fucking marshmallow fucking Johnson.
Last week you talked about masturbation and the dark arts, man, and when we talked, I thanked you for the crusade against the dark art of masturbation.
Oh yeah, self-coming. Go on.
And what really tripped me up is when you said that you looked at the pornography on Saturday night or Sunday night after the show. And man, I was like, fuck, because when I talked to you, you said it was going to get you thinking about it and, all that shit. So, fuck, man, hope I didn't make you masturbate. But if I did, stay strong. You do a lot for people, more than you know.
Well, for you, apparently I just masturbate, brother. So, I don't think you did, man. I mean, I don't know if you put it in my head. I think what happens for me is if I haven't slept much, and that's what happened. I hadn't slept much, and I got just kind of frustrated, and, I've been taking good care of myself, and I just wanted to do something. I wanted to fucking throw a javelin out of a fucking window off of a building and fucking hit somebody at a bus stop, or I wanted to, tie a Christmas wreath around some greedy asshole's neck and then just hook it to a car and just drag that bastard around town playing fucking Christmas carols on the jukebox in the car. I just wanted to do some type of violence. I wanted to act out. I wanted to take one of my fucking arms and just beat somebody with it. Literally take it off my body. Like, wouldn't it be awesome if you could take your left arm off your body, then rip it off your body, right? Then with your right arm, with your right hand, you grab your left hand, and now you have a super long arm that has bones sticking out of the end. And you're just beating the shit out of people with it. Sorry. Look, this is what happens when you go to UFC, man, and you come back, dude. You think about that kind of stuff. But I wanted to act out. So I hope it wasn't because of you and Big Whitey that I fucking ended up doing masturbation, man. I really hope it wasn't. But yeah, I watched the pornography and I felt horrible about it. I got caught up in it, and, it even got deeper for me, man. I thought about getting escorts in Las Vegas, and, and it even took me in a kind of like a dark place there where, I was really, and even kind of looked into it, to be honest. I didn't even just think about it, and it didn't end up happening. So I'm thankful that that's the way that it worked out. But yeah, it's like one thing, I don't know if one thing leads to the next, but one thing doesn't help the next, But yeah, man, I mean, I'm not really proud to say it, but because I've been doing real good with that kind of stuff. But, I had, I looked into getting an escort, and then, and I even had it kind of lined up, and then, she said that she wasn't feeling good. And I was like, well, I don't want a sick, prostitute. That's a bad idea. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't try to do any kind of sexual activity with anybody when they're sick. Even if somebody's sneezing, I won't try to fuck them. I mean, and I've always said that. But, so anyway, I'm just kind of grateful that it worked out the way it didn't, because it left me with a little bit more integrity. And not that anything's wrong with it. It's just I didn't really want to be doing that. I don't think it's wrong with something with hiring women that are sex workers or anything like that, but I just didn't want to be doing it. And I just knew that I didn't want to be doing it. And so I'm kind of glad it worked out the way that it did. And I don't know if I would have gone through with it, but I'd planned on it. I planned on, I've really just kind of given into the dark arts, really. But then some other stuff happened that day that kind of were just like real, like life kind of things. Like one of my friend's dads passed away, and it kind of brought me back into like a more of a reality space. And so I was glad I hadn't heard from this lady. I didn't hear anything from her. And I hadn't reached out. And then finally I got a message that said, hey, I'm not feeling well. And so I was really grateful. I'm just grateful that there's a power out there that had a bigger plan than I did for myself. So anyway,
that was a short turnaround too. You had a flight out at 7 a.m. and we finished eating at like 12:30. Yeah.
And that was the dark arts, man. And instead I got to go eat. We went to eat, because that's when I probably would have tried to meet up with an escort at night. I'm not fucking somebody for money in the daytime. You know what I'm saying? That's, this ain't Morocco or something. And I don't know what that means. Let's get into a couple of the calls here that came in. Oh, man. What a day, huh?
There is one news story on there that was related to pornography.
Well, let's get into it, man. Yeah, man, I guess, dude, the saddest thing about it, I don't even want to talk about it that much. Maybe I'll talk about it more next week. There's a news story here about pornography?
Yeah.
And it says right here, a Michigan man is seeking more than $86,000 from his parents in civil court for allegedly throwing out his large pornography collection. The man moved back into his parents' home after a divorce. A year later, the man moved to Indiana. When his parents discovered his property, the parents delivered his property to his new home, and the porn was missing. He tried to press charges. Look, that's a collection. At a certain point, you can't get that quality art anymore. It's all video now. There's no art to it. There used to be the artistic edge of seeing two people fuck in a magazine you didn't know. There's maybe a little bit of backstory. Janet, Janet used to work at Deutsche Bank or something. There used to be something. Caleb rides horses. And you get a little more information. So you had on the page, you almost got to know him. Each page was a little bit more. In the beginning, there was like a bale of hay and some titties, and somebody had a hat on. And then by the end, people were just doing sex. And for that man to lose all of this in one fell swoop, that's pretty heavy. That's pretty heavy, man. But also, his parents are really battling the DAs, man. They're battling the dark arts by throwing that out, by throwing it in the incinerator.
The dad, he had a quote. It seemed like he really had his son's best interest at heart.
The father told the son, believe it or not, the one reason for why I destroyed your porn was for your own mental and emotional health. I would have done the same if I had found a kilo of crack cocaine. Someday I hope you will understand. You can't fucking throw cocaine out like that. You know what I'm saying? Put it in a special place. Don't pitch it. You got to put that in a cocaine museum or something. How is there not a crack museum? Another great idea. Oh, wow, look at that. Look at the Hall Day 8 ball. That's what it'd be called. And it'd be all 8 balls from around the world.
And the Liberty Bell.
Yeah. Yeah, the Liberty Bell has crack because it's cracked.
Yeah.
Gang. Good choice. Oh, man. Here we are, man. Let's do this right here. Let's see. We got some other calls that came in about the UFC fights.
Yo, man. Casey Riga over here in Atlanta was at the UFC fights last night, if you can't tell by the that fucking throat problem I got right now.
Oh, yeah, man. I feel you. And look, dude, my head hurts so bad after the Kelvin Gastelum fight, which I wanted him to win so bad, dude. He's built just like kind of like, I don't even know what he's built like. He's built like some guy at the beach that, definitely is going to drink all day. I mean, he He was wearing board shorts. He was the only fighter wearing, no joke, swim trunks during the fight. Okay. Like if he would have walked over to his corner and cracked open a Busch Light, would not have been shocked. And I thought he was gonna beat Israel, but dude, by the last fight, my head hurt so bad I could barely even cheer, man. And that's the one I was there for the most. Let's hear more.
Dude, watching you during that Poirier fight was just as entertaining. I mean, you lost your shit in the first round, but I'm going.
Oh, I did lose my shit in the first round, and that's when they said you gotta calm down.
Did they?
Nobody said it, but I could feel everybody about to say it. You know, even the Rat King guy who'd been yelling Rat King the whole time was like, Rat King, calm down. Rat King, Rat King. So that's when I knew I had to tone it down a notch. Let's hear more.
I'm glad Rogan got you in there, man. Got to see the best sport out there, man. I can tell you were feeling it. Glad to see you had a good time, man. Glad your boy brought home the strappy strap. Keep doing the damn thing, man. You're killing it. Appreciate you. Love you.
Gang, man. Love you too, brother. Thanks for the call. Yeah, I'm glad. Look, dude, I was up out of my seat. I was losing my mind. I even got a text from Brendan Schaub, and he said, hey, man, I can hear you in the background of the fights. Get your shit together.
I could hear you at times, too.
So crazy. I don't even know I was yelling. I was yelling dangerous stuff. Fight him. Hit him in the neck, I yelled one time. And that's when somebody, I think even Shaquille O'Neal looked at me, and he'd been hacked. He knew that's that hack-a-shack. He'd probably heard that before. Foul him. Make him shoot free throws, I yelled at one time during one of the fights. So you could tell somehow I didn't know what was happening. We got another call here. The hotline, as always, is 985-626...
664-9503.
985-664-9503. I can't believe I forgot that.
I discombobulated you.
Yeah. Well, it's just because the first 40 minutes of this episode are going to have to be in drawing form because the cameras aren't on, but it's going to be interesting. But hey, we made it through it, right?
I think it's a great episode still thus far.
Well, look, I'm glad that we persevered. It's one thing we learned from Dustin Poirier, man. You know, we could have fallen out. We could have stopped it. We could have got furious.
These cameras are my Korean zombie.
Yeah, these are your Korean zombie, dude. And one of them you said was on, but I'm really curious to see how you montage clips from other episodes to make it look like I'm talking all these things. So it'll be interesting. Let's hear this call came in.
All right, here's my audition for ad reading. Gray Block Pizza. It's the best pizza in California. It's got some sausages and some hot peppers, and it's so good it blew my sister's legs off. But we still order pizza to go. Gray Block Pizza at the hospital because it's so good. Gray Block Pizza, right by the beach. Gray Block Pizza. It's good.
It's good. I like that. Man, I'll tell you this, the way to a girl's heart, bruh. It ain't through her legs anymore. It's through her fucking stomach.
I think that could be kind of fun if every once in a while people send in their reads for Gray Block Pizza and we play them.
I like that. So, yeah, we'll do that for the next couple of episodes. If you want to submit a read for Gray Block Pizza, then submit the ad read at 985-664-9503. Oh, man. Yeah. What a weekend, bro. What a weekend. And I never go do anything fun, you know. I always just do work. So when I'm home, usually I just like to relax. You know, I like to watch a little bit of Dateline, see if anybody got, you know, going through some tough times. I mean, I can't even sleep without a murder sometimes. You know, and that's the dark arts. That's when you know you're getting infected. So I got to start watching some other stuff and, you know, just being more open to some new ideas. What else? Not much. I'm going to West Palm Beach in a couple of weeks. You can get those tickets at theovon.com/tour. That's April 27th and 28th. What else, Nick? Man, I can't believe you freaking down that thought, boy. You down that busty bunny, boy. You doped up that. What was in that dope, man?
Just a lot of dope.
God, bro. I mean, that shit. She looked like you gave her that Boston salmon, brother. Cause she fucking hit the mizzy. She hit the mad, bro. Like literally, I come back and then the guy's other girl came over, you know, with the little, you know, she came over and said, "Hey, what'd you give my girl?"
Just a little THC.
Little THC, dude. And she was out. I want to see who she fights next. Maybe Max Holloway. Let's take another call. Here we go.
Hi, Theo. This is Sarah, calling from Michigan. Short-time listener, first-time caller.
Thanks for calling, Sarah from Michigan. Let's hear more.
And I'm in my late 20s and deciding to be celibate. I've had a lot of sexual relations in my 20s and not really finding it very fulfilling anymore, and want to wait until I meet someone that I really connect with and have a decent relationship with. So I was hoping that you could give me some advice regarding when to tell someone that I'm not going to be an easy conquest. When is the best time that I tell someone that?
Well, right now, you just told them. And, but that's a good question. When do you tell somebody that? I think, you know, I think you could let them know at the end of the first date in an appropriate way. You can let them know in the beginning. I've asked women out and they said from the beginning, if you're just looking for sex or sexual interest or touching or something like that, or body touching, then I'm not that person. Don't come around here with that. You know, I got a kid or I got, you know, a couple cats or whatever. And I'm not trying to put them through that. Some lady didn't want to introduce me to her cats until like the 5th date. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I was like, I don't want to meet them even if it's 200 dates. I don't want to fucking meet them cats. You know, some lady said, well, I don't want you coming by the house, you know. Case fucking Mittens and Bunny. First of all, you named a cat Bunny? Oh, that's pretty nuts. Who would name a cat Bunny? And what are you supposed to do? Easter, he's just losing his shit and doesn't know why. He thinks it's his fault that once a year he fucking just loses his fucking mind and starts writing Cadbury in his litter box with his arm. Huh? Or he fucking why does that cat on the internet that does the computer? The Office Space one? The cat that works at Xerox or whatever? What the fuck is going on? I don't ever want to meet your cats, lady. And you can tell them that. I'll write them a damn note, dude. I'll fucking write a little note on the back of a piece of salmon. Hey, nothing. You can give them that. You ain't coming. I ain't bringing you by the house until, you know, she said you ain't meeting my cats till the 5th date. Yeah. And you know what I do if you ever do bring me over there to meet them? I'm going to hide milk in my shoes and make them lose their shit. I'll fucking hide some 4% in the bottom of each of my boots and just be that fucking lean, that leche stepper. And have those little motherfuckers losing their minds. So I don't want to even date that, you know. I ain't being no cat stepdaddy, lady. So get your mind right. But anyway, what were we talking about? Sarah. Yeah, celibacy. It's, I mean, you know what they say. This pussy ain't for everybody. That's what they say usually when people are celibate. And they say, you know, you must respect this house. And that's actually, I think, part of a
Under Armour ad.
Under Armour ad. But still, it's similar in that sense. You must respect this vajouse. You feel me? This vajazzle. You know what I'm saying? The drawbridge is up on this vajazzle. And that's what you're saying. And I think you let a guy know that in the beginning. Just say if you're not looking for something serious, but don't bait him with it the whole time either. Don't draw a little bit of, leave a little pubic hairs on the napkin. You know, don't leave a little pubic hairs on his plate after he's done eating. So he goes to the bathroom after dinner and he comes back and then got some freaking pubic hairs on the edge of his plate. He's going to be like, what? Don't trick him like that. You know, just tell him straight up. And don't hold it over his head. Oh, maybe next time. Don't do all of that shit. Don't do, it's not a bartering tool. But it's your item, and maybe he don't want to share the wiener. A lot of these ladies thinking, oh, I'm keeping the kitty at the, at the corral. I'm keeping the carp in the cauldron. But what if sometimes a man don't want to share the wiener with you, ladies? Sometimes I ain't fucking sharing the wiener. I'll tell you, look, wiener's out, out of order. I'll hang a dang sign. I'll tie a little, I'll shave a message into my public area. Gone fishing. That's what I'll write. Because sometimes your man, the wiener's not always available. So don't act like it's always it's always out there for you. I think everybody could say, look, it's no dick August. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm doing, ladies. Who's ready for no dick August? These ladies thinking they keep getting this wiener whenever they want. Think again. Walking in a wiener wonderland. No, you're not. You better moonwalk your ass on out of here. Because you's lost. You's having a damn lunar eclipse if you's thinking you's getting this wiener anytime, any day. This ain't the 7-Eleven a dick, boo-boo. Okay? This dick got limited hours. Okay? This the Chase Bank of dick. And this is only during certain hours. And also, I'm only working sometime with private clients. So that's what I'm saying. This wiener ain't available forever. What are we talking about? But if you're trying to be celibate, look, I think you tell them up top. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I agree. That's a good way to weed them out.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I can't stop thinking about the fact that I almost got that escort, man.
I think it's interesting though that because you've been sober now over 2.5 years, and people listening may think, okay, he's better now, he's not struggling anymore. But it's these things can still spring up, even when everything's going well, you just get these urges.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because I didn't, I had no thoughts about it, and then I think it's just, I don't know what it was. Well, what it was I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I didn't want to, I wanted to do something that I wasn't supposed to do, I guess. And it's also my own walls if I put up if I don't want to do that. But yeah, I don't know, man. So I'm grateful that, I know it's easy to say, well, I'm happy that God, that my higher power didn't, kind of let the things fold out the way that they were, that I had planned. But I felt like I kind of got cold feet about it, or cold dick, I guess they call it. And man, I am thankful that a higher power could do for me what I couldn't do for myself, really. But yeah, I just think looking at that pornography, it just spurned me. It spurned me. It's like when somebody drives by your house and fucking, somebody takes a bullet full of creme brulee and just shoots that bitch right in your throat from 60 yards away. And you're like, fuck. God, that was good. But now your brain's thinking dessert. And before I'd had good control over my brain. But I've been so busy recently, I hadn't really been focusing on a lot of just the things I need to do to keep myself in a good place. And I'm not being hard on myself, I don't think, I just want to be making decisions that I definitely want to make, So I guess part of me is just is that something I wanted to do? Or is that something I felt like I was doing because I was being deviant,
I think that's the sugar lizard sibling, the pussy lizard.
Well, the sugar lizard can go for anything.
Oh, okay, then it's the sugar lizard.
Yeah. We don't have to say the P word in here.
Gotcha.
We say it once an episode maybe, but we don't say it flat out like that with both S's. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but
I should have known better.
How else could you say it, you think?
Me?
Yeah.
Pussy lizard?
There you go, boy. Now, dangerous, son. Oh, but good luck out there, Sarah, being celibate, and you do whatever you want to do. Shut it down, dude. Seal that thing up. Donate your vagina to charity or whatever. You know, mail that bitch to fucking Vagganistan. Do whatever you want to do with it. I mean, I think fucking's getting outdated anyway. There's some people still fucking maybe in areas, but a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are over it. There's bigger fish to fry out there. You know?
Those Boston salmon.
Yeah. There's Boston salmon.
Yo, what's up, Theo? This is Matt out of LA, originally Indianapolis. See that you're going down to Australia next month, and I am so excited for you, man. I used to date this little ditty down there. She and I split recently, but still have good memories of that.
Oh, yeah, that's that hemisphere crotch. And when you jump in hemisphere to catch some legs, son, that's, you know, that ain't that local. That ain't that Boston salmon.
But anywho, I got caught in some Twitter, you know, black hole. Just got sucked down into some Aussie Rules football highlights. Oh, I know what it was. I was looking up, like, how to spell yayo. I was like, I don't want to know how you spell yayo. Look it up.
And yayo means cocaine. Go on.
Google's like, did you mean yo yay? Turns out he's a Aussie Rules football player. Just started watching his highlight reel. Then get on Twitter, see some other things. But when you're down there, man, that was the one thing I couldn't do. I highly recommend it. They don't have Sean Payton down there, so they're not trying to be cute or clever. It's just, it's like American football and rugby, you know, all mixed into one.
Yeah, no, I'd love to see some of it. I actually had a man hit me up on DM, and he's a player down there on one of the teams, and I'll look and see who he is. And he invited me to a match over in Perth during the afternoon, which I think I'll actually be able to attend. So could be pretty cool. But thank you for the recommendation, that Aussie Rules football. And yeah, I'd like to try it, you know. I'm excited about being down there, and I'm going to try to take a vacation the week before that and go somewhere. I really need to decide today. But man, this weekend was fun. It was just so much fun to like just do stuff that I just didn't have to work, you know. Even though I did jump on Joe Rogan's show and take a fucking L, bro. God. Dude, I've taken an elbow before, and this was an L, bro. I took that bitch, son. But it was good, man. It's exactly what I needed, you know. It was nice to just to feel that humility, you know. Like, man, this is what it's like when everything's not, when you got to go first, when you're out of your comfort zone.
You and Nate Bargatze kind of talked about something similar, how now every time you perform, like, people are excited, they're ready to see you, they're ready to laugh, but this was kind of that thing where you got to get them on your side first since you're opening the show. And
yeah, you got to get them on your side first. And I went out and I kind of went into material. Then it wasn't going. I didn't know what to do. I got scared. It was honestly, man, it was pretty cool. Because then I still had to stay in there. I still had to stay. It's like, fuck. Finally made it through some moment. This round's over. People were coming in. Somebody was drunk. You know, people were yelling stuff. And it was like it was set up for like a TED Talk. You know, it wasn't even, there was no backstage. Like backstage, it was just like a wall. And so we're like just standing there right behind the curtain. Usually there's like a place to chill out and stuff. It was wild, man. But I'm just grateful. I guess I don't know. I went through it and here I am. And that's life. Let's take another call here.
Yo, what's up, Theo? This is Jake Downs calling. Just wanted to let you know this past weekend I hit 3 weeks of sobriety, and
gang, baby. That's awesome, man. Congratulations, Jake.
I'm calling you from a rehab center right now. But yeah, man, things are going good. I'm hitting 3.5 weeks now, and getting better, getting healthy. And I just want to thank you for what you do. And I also want to thank my boy Kai for giving me this number while I was in here. And he's been following your podcast for a minute now.
Gang, man. Well, that's nice. That's sweet that he shared that, you know? What'd you say, Nick?
just, yeah, and...
there's more of the call?
Yeah.
Okay. That's sweet that he shared that Kai shared it with you onward.
But when he showed it to me, I thought, I'm going to give this guy a call and see what's up. But yeah, man, I'm going through some serious stuff right now. I've got 4 weeks here at rehab going down. The first week was detox, and that was a pain in the ass.
Oh.
but making the best of it. I'm finding out who my real self is, and you've been a huge inspiration to me. So thank you for that. Gonna get off of that blocaine and that sweet, sweet green, you know. But thank you again, dude. I appreciate everything you do, man. All right, peace.
Gang, man.
I just like the part how he said he's getting to know his true self. Now that like the cloud of the drugs are gone, like
Yeah.
you talked a lot about too. When you get off that stuff, you start feeling feelings, and I feel like that's what he's going through at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you making sure that I played all of that, Nick. Man, I appreciate that. Dude, that's so sweet of you to call and just share that. That's the realest thing, you know? It's like, yeah, just you're right back there. It's almost like you're like an infant, like with feelings again. It's like feelings become like these new toys that you're just not used to. You don't know how to play with and you don't know how to behave around, and you stay sober. So then every day it's like you're playing with them the most purest way you can. You know, you're showing up each day to hold yourself accountable and to, fuck, these are my feelings and these things are raw as fuck, you know? Because at some point in my life, I chose to cover them up, you know, to cover up these things so I wouldn't feel them. You just layer stuff over them. And so it can be anything, man. You know, or, you know, it could be used drugs, it could be food, it could be anger, it could be sex, it could be anything that we use to cover up whatever these like seeds of discomfort are. And I just think it's courageous, man. I think you know, I hope you stay sober for as long as you want to. And if you don't, then that's fine. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Only you know if you have a problem with addiction. But I think it's brave. You know, I think it's brave to meet life head on. You know, there's times this weekend, man, I was at the fight and people were having a beer. There's times I went out with Joe Rogan and he's eating fucking, you know, Dalmatian nuggets or whatever he's snacking on. And I wanted to, and they're having a whiskey. Him and Whiskey Ginger, fucking Andrew Santibara, that guy, the dancer. The fucking Ginger, whatever, I can't even remember what his name is, fucking Ginger AIDS. He said that they're having a whiskey and it's nighttime and I wanted to have one. But I wanted to stay in my line a little, you know? And I wanted to just, I don't know, man. And it's not wrong what they did. It's not right what I did. It's just, it gives me something to do every day to wake up and battle, you know, see what these feelings are inside of me. And I applaud you for doing that, for just trying it. And if people aren't doing it, that everybody's different. Some people don't have to deal with their feelings like I do. You know, when I wake up in the morning, my feelings are right there and they're ready to fuck with me, dog. You know, and they want to fuck with me. And they want to ruin my day a lot of times. They just need to be babysat. They're all these babies. It's like this baby inside of me. It's like it's not taken care of and I got to take care of it. So I got to manage well. And I can't do that if I'm using drugs and alcohol right now. Maybe one day I'll be able to. But I applaud you, man. I didn't mean to go off on that tangent. But yeah, I don't know. I guess just a lot going on. And that's good. That's life. And here we are. I think we might wrap up for today. You know, it's been a long episode. You know, we've been through some moments we didn't know about that were coming. We persevered. You know, we stayed in it. You know, I think it's that Dustin Poirier technique. You know, you just stay in it. You know, and we don't be too hard on ourselves. Jake, you don't be too hard on yourself there in rehab. You know, you went through detox and you're doing it. And it's your journey, man. You're doing it. You know, they got the girl trying to shut down the vagina, you know, her vajimmy johns. They closing early. You know, no free smells over here. They shutting down. And people are making choices. You know, I'm trying to get back off the pornography. So now I got, I think maybe 4 days, 3 days. And I'm back. You know, I'm back. that's the beauty of each day. You kind of get a chance to start new each time. But I'm happy to be back here with you guys in the studio, and I appreciate you, Nick, for being here with me today. I know it wasn't easy, and I'm sorry if I was rude, if I didn't handle myself super well.
You handled yourself fine. I'm not feeling great about the mistake, but
it's all we can do is move on, man. That's all we can do, man. And everything's working out the way it's supposed to. Everything's going to be okay. And I say that to myself, really, because sometimes I need to hear it. But yeah, man, such a fun weekend. I would recommend anybody go to a UFC fight. I recommend anybody go see Aerosmith. What do you think, Nick?
Hell yeah. If you could do both in one night.
Oh, you might go to heaven. You might go directly to heaven, dude. Do not pass Sarah's house. Do not collect any vagine, because they ain't serving it over there anymore. All right. You guys be good to yourselves, man. You deserve it. I know that, and I hope you do. We'll leave out actually the same way we came in with this man, Jameson Flood, every night. Every Night by Jameson Flood. Oh, we made it.